just as he hides his face. And there goes the green screen. Way wacky. Hi, people. We're recording now, and he's just destroyed my green screen by making himself look like a boobah.
Greetings, everyone. I am the ghost of Future Imperfect.
No, he's a boobah.
I'm a floating head now.
He's going to make me stop the recording so I can fix his green screen.
Is it really freaking out?
Yes. That's why I tell you not to do that. Now
Why
it's
does it
back.
freak out?
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. It's fine now.
Why does it freak out like that?
Because it's Skype, and Skype doesn't know how to react.
Oh dear. Dear, dear, dear.
You have to minimize the amount of movement because these cameras suck, and the medium through which we are transmitting sucks.
We need to fix that somehow.
Yeah, when I have a professional studio and your butt is actually sitting here next to me. Thank you so much.
This is why you need to follow us, people.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
This is why you need to follow us, and this is why we need to do, a daily schedule and quit our jobs and make this our job, and this is not going to happen because my job pays for most of this.
Point. Good point.
So, hi everybody, welcome to Geekamole, and this is our end of the year, best of, worst of, whatever you want to call it, wrap up. Games edition, because we're going to continue with our splitting of the topics. So next week will be media edition, and
This is the lists are fun episode.
yes, lists are fun, except we don't do 10 of them. Next week will probably be about twice as long because media is a much broader subject, and we have diverse tastes, and games is such a more specific thing. So
This is a nice little pill, easy to swallow.
Tiny little thing. Although, YouTube being what it is, wants you to, wants our watch minutes, so watch the show twice. 3 times.
Give us love.
Bring your friends. Have them watch 3 or 4 times.
Well, we need to be entertaining for them to actually want to watch us. So how about we go and get things done?
I think I'm quite entertaining. Thank you so much. All right, first up, we're going to talk about, we have four categories this year. The first of which will be, I'm just going to say what each one of them is. First is most shocking, and that can be good or bad. It's just literally what shocked us, what in the year hit us out of the blue, most unexpected, most changed, most whatever. Next, of course, is worst. Thank you for the pantomiming over there. And then next is best for the year, because obviously you can't have a show without having a best of the year. And then most anticipated for next year. I'm just going to have to make these the various, as the various little buttons sometime, but I'm not going to do that now because I don't have time. So first up, and Mouse is going to lead each of these in, is most shocking. Yes, you are.
So my most shocking is actually a bad shock. As you know, there was a game that Red Thread Games were creating called Dreamful Chapters, and this game started last year, but it finished this year, and it basically wrapped up the saga that they were telling, the story of Zoe Castillo and the Dreamers. But it came with a bitter pill to swallow at the end, and it was the news that Ragnar Turnquist has decided to end basically he's not going to make any more Longest Journey games. Now, taken as itself, Dreamful Chapters is not a bad game in the least. Unfortunately, as part of a saga, it leaves things at such a cliffhanger when it comes to the story of April Ryan, who is the reason most people have played the longest journey, because she's the protagonist in the first game and she's such a central figure, that I can't really recommend the game. Because you're going to become very involved with April Ryan. Even in the episodes where she's not there, she's left her mark in the world. So to have the saga end in a cliffhanger where the main protagonist's story is never going to be, you're never going to have any closure, and you're never going to know what's going to come next. So for as long as this remains the case with Ragnar Turnquist and Red Thread Games, then I cannot recommend the game, and I would call this probably the least pleasant shock when it came to games as far as 2016 went, for me.
All right. Did you want to talk about your other one?
But on the upside, there is a very, very, very positive shock. There was this game that I didn't know was going to be as good as it was, which was Halcyon 6 Starbase Commander. And you people know that for the longest time I've been looking for this perfect sci-fi type game where I could do exploring and tactical combat and things. This is not that game, but it's very, very close, and what it does so well. It's a little indie, and it's adorable pixel art, beautiful, beautiful. Go ahead and play it. I definitely recommend it as the biggest surprise of 2016 for me.
Now, for me, mine was kind of a toss-up between Telltale's Batman, which wasn't as well received as it was. Well received, but not as well received as was expected. But I decided to go with Pokemon Go. Because, let's be honest, how often does a video game change society, for crying out loud? Now, Pokemon obviously has been a very popular series for years, decades here. But Pokemon Go comes along, and all of a sudden you have people, even myself, wandering out in the parks, looking for Pokemon hidden behind trees, in bathrooms,
and
all
Pokemon,
sorts of...
And Pokemon going to the polls.
All sorts of... Yes, thank you. Had to slip that last political in there, didn't we?
It's not my fault.
Yes, it is. I blame you.
It was said. I could not...
You couldn't unsay it?
There was no way I could not mention it. It changed the culture that much. How's that?
Yeah.
Well, because I'm sure the last game Hillary Clinton ever played was probably tic-tac-toe, so...
Well, in all honesty, I kind of I jokingly refer to this because of CS:GO as Pokemon Global Offensive, and that's pretty much what it was. and it's not so much, it's not even just shocking that the game literally launched out there, and became such a global phenomenon, even amongst non-gamers. It's with the rapidity with which it died.
Yeah,
it just kind of went...
Well, those tweaks really did kind of affect gameplay in such a way that it kind of was like DC Universe Online for me. For me, DCU launch was amazing, and then they started tweaking, and then it became, I don't want to play this anymore. This is boring.
Well, I mean,
sometimes you need to let things be.
It was just an amazing concept that ultimately didn't pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what makes it my most shocking of 2016. So let me move on to the next topic as I move things around. So first up, next is our worst of 2016, Mouse.
All right, and I think it's not a surprise that this game was in my list. No Man's Sky. This game is the classic example. Peter Molyneux has allegedly retired. He hasn't really, actually. He's talking about making Fable 4.
Acorn.
So he's never learned. But this game is a classic example of the Peter Molyneux cycle, because every promise that was made, while still keeping a good amount of the gameplay secreted away from the players, in one way or another, every single promise fell flat on its ass and on its face.
which is difficult to do, to fall on your ass and on your face at the same time.
This game has talent.
It's very dexterous, apparently.
It was bad enough that when they promised to add some content that we had to quit. Well, maybe now people will actually get a complete game, because this game sure looks pretty, but it's very much an empty husk where a game should be.
And the fact that they went silent for ages after, you know, everyone basically decried it. Now they're barely coming out, you know, to fix some of the things that they claimed would be there and available at the beginning, and it's still not quite there, but it's still, you know, a great disappointment overall. Are you done with yours?
Yes, I am.
All right, this almost became mine. It was, in fact, very close to being mine, and with Mighty Number 9 being a close second. However, when I was putting this together this morning, I was thinking about it, and I had told Mouse that really we could give these to games or game companies, and I could not give this to No Man's Sky. I had to give this to Digital Homicide, because let's be honest, you know, I'm not going to drag them any further through the mud. I've already given my honest opinion on their tactics.
Well, they've gone below the mud at this point.
Well, they've drained the pool, and it you know, even though they've supposedly left game development, and they have, you know, decried the entire community and have basically said that, you know, this, that, and the other thing, and they were, you know, publicly defamed and all this stuff. I don't support trollish behavior. I don't support, you know, threats to people who have nothing to do with, you know, if their family was threatened, if you're out there and you're threatening family members, shame on you. That's not appropriate. It is one thing to critique a game or a game company for their practices, their behaviors, and the nature of the product they produce. But it is not appropriate, again, and I'm soapboxing here, it is not appropriate to threaten their lives, their livelihood, their families. That is not appropriate. But again, for Digital Homicide, suing someone who gave an honest critique because the people who watch him threatened you? No.
Exactly.
You guys claim to have been salesmen before this. You have clearly no understanding of how sales work. So, you know, and when you're in my age category and you don't know that fundamental, you could not have been a very good businessman to begin with. Sorry. That is my opinion. Any one of our 3 or 4 fans out there, do not take it upon yourself to do vigilantism. I don't support that. But, so my worst of 2016 goes to Digital Homicide. Now, next up, we have, let me change our categories again. We have the best of 2016, Mouse. It's up. Would you like to do yours?
Actually, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. It's a good thing I haven't hit the button in order to put... Oh, great.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Drew?
I can hear you fine.
Drew?
I hear you fine.
Are you going to cut this?
I can.
Stupid Windows.
Hi, Windows 10 community. Let me just explain what has happened. This is called when Microsoft is allowed to automatically update your system without your say-so, because Microsoft seems to think that it is the best person in order to determine what works for your computer and what does not. I would have to say that Microsoft also gets the worst of 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012, all the way back to Windows 7, because, again, Microsoft, you don't know what is best for every PC. Just because every PC
There we go.
may
I
or
can
may
hear
or
you now.
not. I'm on a rant. Give it to me. While every PC may be running, well, the vast majority of them may be running Windows, they do not all have the same physical compatibilities. Therefore, you do not get to say when they update and what they update. Knock it off. Because he's had to update his sound drivers, 500 times in the past 3 weeks? It's annoying me. And I'm still on Windows 7.
Oh, no, wait. It gets better. Very briefly, so my husband gave me Watch Dogs 2 as a Christmas present. I couldn't play it because I was updating my graphics, my graphics driver. And as I was doing that, the Windows, I had postponed updating for a couple of days because Windows is made of cancer. And so
Made of cancer.
I got the notice, we are going to be shutting down in 15 minutes. Save your stuff. You poor cretin. You don't get an option to postpone this. So it became a race between whether my drivers could get updated in time or the computer would shut down. Guess which one? So, as a result of the computer shutting down in the middle of the update process, something got borked with my GeForce drivers. I didn't really notice until I tried to start Watch Dogs and it wouldn't start. Because Uplay, which is another thing made of cancer, couldn't actually connect because there was something wrong with my GeForce, with my Shadowplay. I have no idea what these two things have in common. It basically made it so that Uplay could not connect to the internet at all. I didn't know this, so I basically just trolled as many databases and forums and whatnot until I finally thought, well, this could be it. So yeah, I had to uninstall my graphics driver, reinstall it, update it, and then it played. So now, but also now, after the most recent Windows update, every time I go to sleep, my computer goes to sleep, and I come back up, sound drivers stop working and I have to reinstall them again. So thank you, Windows 10. Let's go to the best game of the year now.
I've already, by the way, while we were in silent mode for you, I gave Microsoft the worst of the year 2016 through 20 something.
Oh, good. Yes, good.
All right, so best of the year. Would you like to actually hit your topic now?
Yes, best of the year for me, Starbound, the game that No Man's Sky wants to be when it grows up. Unlike No Man's Sky, Starbound gave early access to a good number of its players who wanted to, to make the investment. They involved them in weekly and monthly updates. We could see the game growing and changing before our eyes. And finally, when version 1 finally came out after 4 years of development, it had pretty much everything that they had promised.
And 4 devastated bases on my part.
Huh?
And 4 devastated bases on my part.
On his part. Because with the rolling updates, sometimes it would erase the world. And of course, Drew had created these almost Ozymandian structures. And of course, every time that happened, every time Drew finally managed to get something fully completed, it was this glorious base, they would put out a new update and it would be erased from existence. But wait,
and then I would decry the next update and refuse to play it. And then I'd come back in and make another one.
And so now the update 1 is out, version 1 point something or other, because they've added more patches now, and they just keep adding stuff too. So my best and my worst games of the year are sort of mirror images from each other. Here you have an exploration, colonization, mining resources, whatever. Sandbox game that failed at doing every single one of those things. And here's a 2D game that managed to succeed. And it's still expanding to the point that now they're adding terraforming too. You can change your biomes too. So kudos, Starbound, you win my game of the year because you delivered everything you promised. You were open with the public. You showed them the development process. And that is how companies really should be when it comes to developing games.
All right. For me, Starbound was in my top. Now, for Mouse, I know probably picked his mostly from what he's played. I don't get to play as many. For me, it's a bit of what I play versus what I watch on Twitch. So I had quite a few up for consideration. Starbound, Stardew Valley, Dark Souls 3, which I'll watch till the cows come home, but I will never play because that would be the rage quit of doom right there. Planet Coaster, Final Fantasy 15, which I still have not had a chance to play. It's over there on my PS4 waiting for me. But the one I had to give it to was Dishonored 2. Now, I'm going to be honest, it's not as great as Dishonored 1, but it was still awesome. I loved being able to come back in and play Corvo again. The only thing about this game I hated was the main villain. Because as much as the game tried to make her sympathetic, it was a little heavy-handed in that regard. And quite honestly, I got real sick of her bitching.
Were they trying to play the tiniest violin in the world when she was monologuing?
Oh, they weren't so much playing tiny violins as that you know, when you want somebody to be sympathetic, you should make them sound sympathetic. No, she was like, and this is what happened to me, and I'm like, and this is my middle finger, and this is how many F's I can.
Oh my gosh, she was basically Napoleon Dynamite.
I haven't seen the movie, unfortunately, so I can't give you that reference. Sorry. And I know I'm going to get the hate mail for never watching Napoleon Dynamite. It's not my type of movie. Sorry. Can't help you there. Anyway, so yeah, she was the only one I was totally non-sympathetic for, but then again, I'm also playing Corvo Atana, who lives for the high chaos ending, so everyone around me was destined to die. and let's be honest, spoiler alert, at the end, when it came to the opportunity to restore my daughter to the throne or take it myself, I took it myself.
Of course.
I'm like, screw it.
Why am I not surprised?
I'm the one with the power. I'm the one who had to go, clear the throne twice. That's mine now.
I earned this throne.
It was hysterical. It was a hysterical ending, because I came up with the ending that I sided with the Abbey, and it's like I am empowered for all, if I were to take a modern world equivalent, I have Satan's power. And I'm putting the Catholic Church in charge of bringing righteousness back to the country. And they're doing it, but still working under me. And that was my ending.
The ethical conundrums and complications of that scenario alone are a wonder to behold.
And it still amused the hell out of me, and still I did it. Now, mind you, I still have to go back in order to replay a chapter and a half because I lost the recording. If I want to do another kill count, and I do.
Playing it wrong.
No, if it's a valid option, and it is, and it has an ending that goes that way.
Thieves.
Let me be honest. My character is not a thief. He is an assassin. He is the royal protector. Assassination is a completely valid option.
All right.
Anyways, we're moving on from 2016 to
infinity and beyond.
Yeah, most anticipated of 2017. Mouse, you want to start this one off?
All right.
With the most predictable anticipated.
Yes, those people at home who know me, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to try to predict.
It's already up, so you might as well just go with it.
I'm trying to build something here, and you just wrecked
I didn't know you were going to be building. That's why I said the most predictable
freaking Miley
option.
Cyrus and just wrecked it.
Deal with it.
So, my most anticipated game of 2017 for me is, of course, Hero U. This is a game that has been in development for 4 years. Lori and Corey Cole have been keeping their the Kickstarter investors updated on updates. They had to change engine, of course. They've had several changes of staff because they do not hire full-time staff because of financial reasons, but they've been very forthcoming with it, and I do wish them the best. I've always loved their games, and I hope that Hero U lives up to their expectations, and I really honestly can't wait to play it. Actually, this category was a tie-up, a toss-up. I almost said a toss off, and I went,
The toss
"Hey,
salad.
this was a toss salad between two Kickstarter games, actually. And as we know, I have a streak for picking winners. So far, so good. So I'm very convinced that Hero U will be a winner, as I am convinced that come January or February of 2017, I will also be able to add another winner to my list, that being Night in the Woods, which is coming out in 2017. I can't wait. So Hero U, Night in the Woods, if those two are good, I'll still be the champ.
All right, and while Mouse is off being the Disney of indie games, my most anticipated of 2017, I had a lot to choose from. I'm just going to put up what mine is because I spoiled his. I'll spoil mine. I mean, looking at what's scheduled to come out with 2017, we've got Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Persona 5, God of War, Vampire, Pray for the Gods. I still have to give it to Scalebound. A game that still looks to me to combine Devil May Cry with, Monster Hunter with a big giant dragon you get to ride around on and command, and it looks like it just takes all of the cool things coming out next year and swooshes them up into one tight little package, and I can't wait. Now that I have my PS4, I can't wait for it to come out. So Scalebound is my choice, but really next year there's a lot of games I really, really want, and I can't wait to see and get my hands on, or at least watch being played, because I know I will be no good with Pray for the Gods, but I want to watch it. I acknowledge my failings, and
you are a weak mortal.
I could play this and cheat my ass off, or I could watch somebody else play it and laugh.
Don't you usually cheat your ass off anyways?
I can't cheat my butt on console games because there's no options anymore. They don't have Game Sharks and things like that. So unless it's on a PC, you can't cheat. I gotta play it real.
You gotta stay real. I just realized I forgot my honorable mention for a shock. Actually, most shocking.
You did?
Yeah, I thought I would mention it. Actually, it's not shock, but a pleasant surprise. I don't know how to say it without. All right, very briefly, Square Enix. Squeenix. I am going to admit that I was wrong in the by most part concerning what Final Fantasy 15 would be. I had thought that Squeenix had lost all talent as far as storytelling and game pacing and game design. Final Fantasy 15 proved that I had been wrong in some parts, because this game took 10 years to finish. So this is not necessarily a very, very faithful snapshot of what Squeenix is now, but it is taking the Final Fantasy franchise in a good direction, which is as far away from Final Fantasy 13 as possible.
Well, again, in all fairness, 13 was so horrible because they were fixing 14.
Yes, but 13.2 was also not good.
Well, again, it was
back.
Released at the same time frame. They had no additional assets. 13.2, 13.3, they were all literally just. I mean, I don't excuse Squeenix because let's be honest, they produced 14 in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I mean, in all fairness, 13 sucked because 13 had like half the crew.
So
it was squeezed out like a turd. Let's be honest.
Yeah. This, I think, is a step in the right direction. I hope that we might see maybe a return to the good days. I'm not going to say the glory days. That's still reaching too far. But let's get to the good days again, Squeenix, and then we can hope to reach the glory days again. Well,
next up will be Final Fantasy VII Remake, so...
Yes, that's going to be very interesting. And we're going to be keeping an eye out on that because...
That could have been the most anticipated of 2017, but still I'm giving it a Scalebound.
Well, it's not coming out in 2017.
December 2017.
Trust me, it's not coming out in
That's
2017.
I have to go by what it currently is planned for.
Let's have a bet. And
no, because I know you're right. I just have to go by what the current schedule is.
I predict that the first episode, because they're making episodic, of Final Fantasy VII is going to come out between February and April of 2018. Mark my words. And we can go back to this episode if it doesn't happen.
He's trying to put on Jim Sterling's Prophet of Doom hat.
Thank God for Jim, but I am not fit to tie his shoelaces and button up his very, very, very fetching and fancy coat.
You're not fit to feed his boglins?
I am not, no. But I am trying to follow in his footsteps, so as a humble disciple, I offer that humble prediction, and if it comes to pass, then maybe Lord Sterling has granted me with some of his fiery tongue.
I'm going to just leave it at that, Warple. Thank you ever so much. That was our best and worst of video games. Come back next week when we
let us know what you think. What are your picks? Tell us down here, or down wherever the comments are.
It's down below, always down below.
We still read the comments, so those of you who leave comments,
we read the comments. I don't always respond to them because sometimes I forget.
You're so bad.
I forget because I'm usually reading them when I'm not in a place that I can respond. And as always, hit the like button, the subscribe button, the little bell for notifications because of YouTube being what it is. Hit all the things. Bring your friends. Tell them to hit all the things. Like us. Hit the little the little hi guy. Hit the little subscribe buttons, and they're all over the place. Hit everything.
Don't hit each other.
Don't hit each other. Don't love each other because it's the end of the year. It's and for some it may
is that
be
the only reason they're loving
world.
each other?
It may be the end of the world in a couple of months. Who knows? Sorry,
it's
last bit of
the
political.
end of the world as we know it.
And come back next week for the media edition, which will probably be a little bit longer, or we'll just have to stop talking as much.
Well, we're in good time. This one just was very short, so we added some filler.
Added filler, yeah.
And
that was completely planned.
Well, my drivers acted up too, so
completely planned.
Totally, yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.